Hey, all you crazy NFC North Monster fans out there. This is Tim from the NFC North Monsters doing the recap of Sunday's divisional round game against the LA Rams. And then I'm also going to bring up some other topics along with free agency, some futures contracts, and some coaching changes that have been occurring as we speak. So, first off, let's get out to the nitty gritty, and that is the game. The Rams won 20-17 on a field goal in overtime. I honestly am heartbroken. I mean, all of us Bears fans are heartbroken. I'm still a little pissed about the game, but I'm also excited about the future of the Chicago Bears. Now, where do we start with this game? First off, take the damn points. I'm so sick of trying to go for it on fourth down, especially in a playoff game. Take the fucking points. We need points, get points, points win games. There's a point in time in the game when you can try to go for the 4th and 1s, the 4th and 3s, and so on. But when you're trying to set the tone, get the momentum, and not have your defense reeling right out of the gate because of a turnover, kick the field goal, get the points. I understand. I mentioned in my video that weather was going to be a factor. It really didn't look like it was going to be a factor as the game was progressing. We did see some snow on the field. We did see the wind gusts. But ultimately, I was very disappointed in some of the play calling by Ben Johnson, and also very disappointed with the wide receivers and the 7 drops that they had. We did leave the game with a concussion on Colston Loveland. He'll be good to go. Takes a week or 2 weeks, but concussions are always different with every player. The only downside is that's now 1 concussion in his career, and you are more susceptible to get concussions as you acquire them. But Coastal Loveland, complete stud, 195 receiving yards through the playoffs. That's a Bears record. Caleb Williams, phenomenal. Yeah, he had 5 total interceptions through the 2 rounds of playoffs that he had, but a lot of those interceptions were, I'm going to just put right back on the wide receivers, not run the routes. Caleb could say what he wants and say that, it was communication between him and DJ Moore, but he right now in Chicago and everywhere else is enemy number 1 right there, DJ Moore. I feel bad for DJ for the fact that he has had a decent career with the Chicago Bears while he's been here, and I do hope he will remain with the Bears, but I also saw a lot of loafing, giving up on plays throughout the season. I don't know if he was battling injuries or if he's just still in love with Justin Fields, and he can go play with him in free agency, wherever they both may go. But we do have a massive contract with DJ Moore. We can trade him. We will take some hits with dead cap money, but it's not at all out of the realm of possibility that we move on from DJ Moore and at least try to get some draft picks or use him as a package deal to acquire an edge rusher, which I still have my reservations about as well, because we will be picking the 25th in the NFL draft. I've heard that this is a very deep draft as far as edges and defensive linemen go. So we're a long ways away from now until then. I still don't really want to pay the price for Max Crosby or even a Myles Garrett. I have heard of some Chris Jones. There's a guy down in Denver that they're also could be tied to. There are linemen and edge rushers out there possibly available. Let's just let the season play out. Best of luck to the Seahawks, the Rams, the Broncos, and the New England Patriots. May whoever comes out of those championship games have a good Super Bowl. I'm morally defeated, so I don't know how much more I want to give into these playoffs this year. I know that sounds kind of petty, but that loss Sunday took so much out of me. But that throw that Caleb had, the Cole Kmet in the end zone in the fourth quarter, 4th and 8, 52 air yards on a 14-yard TD, just phenomenal. The Iceman, he cometh, he tried it, he failed it, but it's not all on him. This is a team, and Caleb was a true leader. He didn't throw any player on the bus. He wasn't blaming coaching. He wasn't blaming anybody. It was just more of, we just need to get better. And I really liked what he said in his post-game press conference there, where he said he has a fire and a ferocity in himself that he wants to go out and do better. That's great to hear. He's going to work on his footwork. He's going to work on his accuracy. He already said he's going to do it. I believe Caleb. He's going to go out there and do it. Caleb Williams, to me, still is, without a doubt, the best QB that this Chicago Bears will ever see. He is the Michael Jordan of our NFL franchise. But, Michael Jordan struggled until he had a good support staff. And that's basically where Caleb is at. He didn't really struggle, per se, but the execution wasn't there. He needs his Scottie Pippen. He needs his, whoever else. He needs his other to help get him through this. Will it be Rome Odunze? Will it be DJ Moore? I think it's going to be his Colston Loveland. That's going to be his Scottie Pippen. And I really think when Colston went out in the fourth quarter there and going into overtime with that concussion, that changed everything. He had his security blanket gone. I feel like on that interception that Caleb threw there in overtime, if he had Colston Loveland, that's where it would have went. I kind of wish the Bears would have dialed it back a little bit before going for the home run ball there, going for the big score, the big play, and just kept chunking it. 10 more yards, 5 more yards. Just keep getting closer and closer to that. But, Mr. Ben Johnson, you, sir, have a lot on your plate, along with Ryan Poles, going into this offseason. This is now really your first offseason truly together after you've had a year of success. Ryan Poles has 27 free agents to look at. And I really feel like when we look at it all, let's take a quick peek at those free agents. Now, these are the top 14. You have Kevin Byard. Without a doubt, he needs a contract. That Joe, Tyrone, whoever that we picked up from Cleveland, I don't think he's coming back. Andrew Billings, I feel like he may retire. Ryan Bates there on the O-line as well. Might be a depth piece. We'll see. Chris Williams, defensive tackle. I saw him out there sparingly throughout the season. Durham Smythe is, I would say, bring Smythe back. I really feel like him, Loveland, and Kmet make a good tight end room. But, we'll see what else comes up in free agency. Case Keenum, I'd almost offer him a coaching job. I really felt like Caleb Williams and him bonded. I feel like Caleb used him as a sounding board. I would like to see Case Keenum come back. If he was willing to come back again for another year as QB and just be knowing that he's going to be third on the depth chart, so be it. But I really would like to see Case come back as a coach for the Bears and to help Caleb throughout the rest of his career here. Jonathan Owens did not get used a whole lot this year. He was on special teams mostly. He did see a few snaps during the play of a game, but I feel like Jonathan Owens is probably on his way out. Had high hopes for him when he first came to Chicago. through free agency, but unfortunately, I feel like his time is up. Jaquan Brisker, Mr. 1 year healthy out of his entire career here. I feel like unless we get him on the cheap, he needs to go. And he needs to compete if he comes. And there's a chance he may not make the 53. But I had high hopes for him when he got drafted out of college. He looked explosive. He looked great. I would say this last game that we played in the divisional round, probably the best I've seen Brisker play in almost 3 years. Well, one game doesn't erase all that. Lots of injuries, and that has me concerned moving into the future. If anything, it'd be a 1 to 2 year deal, and that's about it. Travis Homer shouldn't even been on this 53-man roster to begin with. So I really feel like with the future signings that happened today, he's more than likely out, and probably is Roshan Johnson, who's not on this list yet, but he'll probably also be getting moved on from as well. Alameda Sagias, good piece to have, but it's a very crowded wide receiving room. If he's another one that if he's willing to come back on the cheap, 2 year deal, league minimum for a veteran, I'm all for it. Nick McLeod, I don't think he's going to be around. I don't think he's even going to be signed by this team. If he does, it's going to be a prove-it practice squad type player. This one I do hope we do sign, Jalen Rivas-Maben. I liked him. I felt like he brought some energy to that linebacking core, him and Jackson. But we'll see. He's another one that might just want to try free agency and see where it goes. And then, it cut off on my 14th here. So, apologize for that. Here's 15 through 27. Long snapper Scott Daly probably get re-signed. I don't see why he wouldn't. Wide receiver Devin Duvernay, horrible on the punts and the kickoffs. He had a couple explosives, nothing to write home about. I just don't really feel like he should be on the roster again. Crowded wide receiving room. Don't see where he might fit. Now, safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I'd rather sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson over Brisker. Hopefully that's the case, and hopefully Ryan Poles sees that. But once again, he would also be on a 1 to 2 year deal. Nothing long-term. He is a little older as far as his playing career goes, but he brought some excitement. Maybe a whole offseason with this coaching staff, he can get back some more juices, be faster, be good. Nahshon Wright, I have a feeling wherever Al Harris goes, Nahshon Wright's also going to go the same way. Daniel Harding, don't really feel like he's going to be a fit for this team moving forward. DeMarco Jackson, like I said, he needs to get re-signed as well. Maybe a 2 to 3 year deal. I'm a little more sold on him moving forward. Braxton Jones, adios. He should not even made the 53-man roster this year. Another one that should also not have made the roster, D'Amico Robinson. Yes, he had a sack on Matthew Stafford in this game, but inconsistency and just not very productive. I don't see a future for him with this team, so I would move on from him. Elijah Hicks should never made the 53-man roster. I feel like he needs to go. Theo Benedict. We need to sign the Canadian Eagle one more time, get him on at least a 2 to 3 year deal, probably on the cheap, hopefully. And he was a great fill-in piece. Yes, he struggled with the pass blocking at times, but I feel like Theo is a great depth. He did great when Ozzie went down. He filled that role real quick on left tackle. But we need to quit using him as a receiver. The Canadian Eagle cannot catch a pass. They tried twice, failed twice. Ty Summers, we picked him up off a practice squad. I think that's probably what his career is going to be. I don't see him coming back unless it's in that same position. Ricky Stromberg, I possibly same thing. We're going to probably be looking at practice squad there. And I know it's cut off there, but it's another wide receiver. Kadir Ismail. I don't see a future with him on this team as well, unless it's in the practice squad. Now, let's go into the future contracts here. This is courtesy off of the Chicago Bears off their X. So I do see some good names in here that we picked up, and this is why I feel like Homer's gone. You have Britton Brown, who got picked up on a futures contract. Did not see the field enough. He should have been on the 53-man roster long ahead of Homer, long ahead of Rashad Johnson. He was very productive. He had like 7 yards a carry when he was on, I think, just 5 attempts, because he only had 35 yards, but and 1 touchdown. But Britton Brown, I think, is going to be a nice, solid piece to have in that locker room with the running backs. With DeAndre Swift and Monagai, definitely need to keep him on. Then some other names on here that kind of stood out to me was you have Nefi Sewell. He is the brother of one of the other Sewell on our team, and I feel like with the injury to his brother, having him on board, we're going to be looking at maybe some good depth there, especially with those two. They might push each other because they're brothers. J.P. Richardson has some stellar play during the preseason. And this is where you start to see that wide receiving room kind of change a little bit with him coming on, and also Maurice Alexander. So that's why you start to think maybe some of those other wide receivers like Duvernay, Zacchaeus, those two might be moving on, and they might be going with some younger options with these 2 players. And then, as you can see, there's quite a few. We signed 14. Nikola Kalanick, tight end. I'm sorry for probably slaughtering your last name there, but he came in. He filled in good on tight end. But we also picked up Steven Carlson as well, so that's where maybe we might be looking at the tight end room changing, with Smythe maybe being the odd man out here. We'll see, because that's 5 tight ends. That's a lot to carry. But seeing who the Chicago Bears are picking up as a coach here to replace Eric Bieniemy, who did move on to Kansas City for their offensive coordinator position, maybe this brings me into this. The coaching changes. We know it's going to happen. We're probably going to lose more coaches as the time comes on, but we just signed from Boston College, their offensive coordinator. Sorry, here, give me 2 seconds. Will Lawing. He did help out with the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans. Under him, Hunter Henry had a very good career, a very good year, I should say, there in New England. So they haven't really announced what his position is going to be. There is a press conference tomorrow regarding end of season, and they're going to probably be talking about him as well. He flew in today and he signed today. They haven't, like I said, they have not disclosed what his coaching position will be, but he is now one of the new coaches in Chicago. But we have seen some other changes going on around the NFL with the NFC North. We had Matt LaFleur sign an extension in Green Bay. We saw his defensive coordinator now become the Miami Dolphins head coach. So some surprising things I haven't seen yet. Brian Flores getting a head coaching job. I don't even know how many interviews he's had. Haven't really paid that much attention to it. The Detroit Lions signed the offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals to be their new offensive coordinator. I'm laughing on the inside and probably going to be on the outside too. I don't think that was a stellar move by them, but hey, these guys know more than some of us out here in the world. But kind of some eye raising situations going on there with the NFL. Also, let's just talk outside of the NFC and the NFC North. Sean McDermott getting fired in Buffalo. 8 years of going to the playoffs. Yes, you didn't get over the hump. Yes, you never got to the Super Bowl. It's not all coaching. It's sometimes those players. It's like, come on, you have Josh Allen, who laid a complete egg against the Broncos. I don't feel like McDermott should have got fired. Yes, maybe some new blood's going to happen, but do what's going to happen with new blood? Growing pains. There's not many Ben Johnson type of coaches out there that are going to ignite your franchise and get you going. But hey, I don't own that team, but personally, I felt like that was probably a bad move. I'm not in love with John Harbaugh going to the New York Giants. I don't see how that's a good fit. I don't think Jackson Dart's his type of QB, but we'll see. They have a good defense. Maybe he can get things going in the right direction there. I mean, he was a special teams coach, so he knows both sides of the field. He had huge success for many years down in Baltimore, but once again, he never really got – he got the 2 Super Bowls, but not a whole lot of playoff success. Kevin Stefanski went to the Atlanta Falcons. That's not where I was picturing him going, but, who knows? Wishing tons of luck down there in Atlanta. I actually liked him as the Cleveland Browns head coach. I just felt like they were poorly ran from the GM position and ownership more than him. I felt like he was never really given everything he needed to succeed. They ran Baker Mayfield off for Deshaun Watson. See how well that's happened or going. You went into salary cap hell with Deshaun Watson, but yet Kevin Stefanski is the fall guy here because he didn't win. Can't win with a shitty roster. And, you could try to build players, but if you're getting the bottom of the barrel players, you're going to get bottom of the barrel performance. And Shedeur Sanders is not going to be the QB of the future in that town. He's probably going to last another 2, maybe 3 years, and then he's going to be like a Justin Fields, bouncing around team to team to team, practice squad, backup QB roles, maybe a gimmick here and there, but I don't see much. So we'll see. Then, there's still tons of openings out there. Robert Saleh. Forgot about that. Robert Saleh went to the Tennessee Titans. That could be a good fit. I think that might be a good spot. Kind of laughing on the inside because Matt Nagy not only got fired from the Bears, but they gets fired from KC because they bring in Eric Bieniemy, and Matt Nagy thought he was maybe getting this Tennessee job, and he's out. Maybe he can go to the Cleveland Browns. They did a good steamer, and he's a good steamer of coaching. Big pile of shit. I was definitely not a Matt Nagy fan. Felt like he was gimmicky. Just nothing really impressed me about Matt Nagy. Honestly, I haven't been impressed with the Chicago Bears head coach since probably since Lovie Smith. And before that was Wannstedt. I liked Wani. Dick Duran was kind of lukewarm. I really loved Lovey. But then, we had Fox, Trestman, Nagy, Eberflus. It was not a good run there for a while. Exciting that Ben Johnson, got us to the divisional round. I really don't want to have that loser mentality where I'm like, This was awesome. At least we made it this far. I wanted to freaking go the whole goddamn way. I really thought this team had a chance to make it all the way to the Super Bowl. Just first year head coach, learning his players, which is going to be completely overhauled next year. I mean, right there on a 53-man roster, you have 27 openings. That leaves you 26 guys that are the core right now moving forward. Darnell Wright, we could sign now, and we still have extend him, and we'd still have one more year left on his rookie deal, and then his new contract would kick in 2027. I think that should be a possibility that we should get done now and not lose him, because now he's an all-pro, so now his price tag's going higher. And that kid played with one arm all season. Darnell Wright, without me, was probably one of the biggest stars on that offensive line. He really benefited from learning from those veterans. Ozzie Trapillo, oh, God, my heart breaks for that kid. He played with a lot of grit and just embraced the role. Losing him for pretty much the whole 2026 campaign is going to be a bummer, but maybe he can get a speedy recovery and be back, towards the last quarter of the season next year. But I hate to see him push himself and get another injury, and there goes his career. So what are some needs for the Bears moving into the offseason? We're probably going to have to look at a left tackle, whether it's a Band-Aid left tackle, but it's definitely not Braxton Jones. That guy needs to kick rocks and adios. I mean, it was very evident that the Bears had no interest in him in that divisional round when they benched him as a healthy scratch or made him inactive as a healthy scratch. That pretty much was the end of that story. They just wanted him to be healthy going into free agency. Whether they won or lost, I don't see him. I don't think he would have started in the conference championship or even the Super Bowl if we would have made it that far. But so we have that left tackle. We're going to need a corner. Without a doubt, I think our first draft pick should be an edge. Maybe the second draft pick an edge. Maybe the third one an edge. We may have to look at getting another running back, either in free agency, somebody cheap that we can sign for a couple years. That's if they want to move away from DeAndre Swift after next year. I mean, Swifty had a great year. He had a phenomenal year for the Chicago Bears. Maybe he'll get another one, and maybe we sign him for another 2-year deal. Let's just baby steps. Let's just see how things go. Let's see who becomes available, and let's see who's available in the draft and go from there. But so right now, my biggest needs are defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, offensive tackle, running back, and then your secondary, another corner or safety. But I think the future is very bright for the Bears. We have some contracts that we need to restructure, possibly with Cole Kmet. Maybe we could give him a 2-3 year extension, save some cap space there. Do we move on from DJ Moore? Right now, with me being as pissed as I am about that fucking game, yes, we move on from DJ Moore. But is it the right decision? Probably not. But we'll see. Maybe we can work out a deal with DJ and do something with this contract to make it a little more friendly. Maybe DJ Moore wants to be out of Chicago as well. Maybe after this season, now 1 year under Ben Johnson, maybe he sees that there's no room for him in that wide receiving room and he wants to move on. We do have some stellar studs in that wide receiver room. They all need to hit the damn jugs machine every day. They should probably be hitting the jugs machine right now. Just catch with the damn diamond. Catch right here. I don't know what Odunze was doing on that first drive. Trying to catch with the body, not catch with the hands. Catch with the hands, bring it to the body. Secure it, touchdown. But a little more things on that divisional game. Congratulations, LA Rams. You proved my point a little bit that Chicago Bear weather means shit. Build the dome. Build it in Indiana. Build it in Arlington. I don't care. Chicago Bears record in cold games now is 59, 60, and 1. We have a 49% chance of winning. I was so sick of hearing bear weather. It didn't matter. Look at the records. Look at the scenarios. Anyways, like I said, congratulations, LA Rams. Congratulations to the Bears too. The fact that we took the league's MVP, top candidate, the number one offense, we took their asses all the way to overtime, and we lost in overtime, tells me all I need to know about this team moving forward. It's well coached, it's well structured, future's bright. Just need to play smarter. Need to play a balanced game from quarter 1 to quarter 4, and we're good. I mean, I was impressed with our defense that game. I've been on Dennis Allen's ass all season, and it was nice to see that he actually came out and did a great job until overtime, when I felt like on the third down, when Puka became wide open there, he didn't have a lot of plans or a lot of gimmicks or strategies to try to come up with things. But all in all, I mean, Matt Stafford, I would say that if you constantly blitz Matt Stafford, about 80% of the time, you're probably going to come away with a success. The other 20% is the Puka, where they got in the field goal range pretty easily with that. And kudos to that Mevis, their kicker, wasn't intimidated about the cold, wasn't intimidated about the conditions. He was from, I believe he kicked in Indiana. So he's used to this type of weather. And congrats to Indiana Hoosiers. Hell, I didn't even know they had a football program. All I ever knew them about was basketball and Bob Knight. But with all that being said, I'm looking at doing another show where I'm going to start talking about what's an undrafted free agent, what's a restricted free agent, what's our salary cap, what is a salary cap, how can you tweak it, and so on and so forth. I'm going to try to do some breakdowns of what these things are that we're now looking at moving forward. And then I'm going to look at some draft picks. We'll do some mock drafts. We'll see how the top 25 shape out in the mock drafts. But we have a bright future in Chicago. I feel like we will be the kings of the North for a few years to come. I also feel like we will be making some aggressive changes moving forward. And like I always say, let's fucking go and let's bear down. So here's to the next show. Have a good one.